11:13, Friday the 13th, U.S. officials announced that they reasonably believe a U.S. drone strike on a vehicle in Syria killed the masked Islamic State militant known as Jihadi John.
Breaking news as we come on the air tonight. The terrorist known as Jihadi John targeted in a U.S. armed drone strike earlier today. The knife-wielding masked man became a symbol of ISIS after authorities believe he beheaded a number of hostages.
He was the face of evil, and the U.S. has been tracking and targeting Jihadi John, a British citizen, for months now. U.S. officials say the airstrike late Thursday was launched by a drone as the target left a building in Raqqa, Syria, and then entered a vehicle. One official told ABC News it was a 100% flawless direct hit.
It should be noted that the number 11 represents the age of Antichrist, and the number 13 represents rebellion. Jihadi John was a member of an ISIS group nicknamed the Beatles by their captives because they were British. Previously, we have discussed the fact that the group, the Beatles, subtly promoted Satanism and Aleister Crowley. In a 1970 magazine article, Paul McCartney said, "We probably seem to be anti-religious. None of us believes in God." One former hostage of ISIS recalled that one of the ISIS Beatles, who was dubbed by fellow captives George, was particularly fond of the song which was based on the Eagles' Hotel California. The song Hotel California is a satanic song about being held captive in hell. Remember this connection to the Beatles and the Eagles because we will revisit it later. It should also be noted that Isis is an ancient Egyptian goddess who resurrected her husband Osiris by putting together pieces of his body. However, his penis was never found. The Washington Monument, the obelisk in St. Peter's Basilica, and the Eiffel Tower are all symbols of Osiris's penis. Also, the scarab beetle in ancient Egypt was a symbol of resurrection, transformation, and protection. On Friday the 13th, an orchestrated attack by alleged ISIS militants occurred in Paris. People are now using the slogan "Peace for Paris," which is connected with an image of the Eiffel Tower inside of a circle. This image is the same image of the anarchy symbol. The coordinated attacks occurred simultaneously at the Stadium of France, the Bataclan Theater, and other sites. Upon closer inspection, it becomes evident that these events are orchestrated as a part of the same Antichrist spirit of revolution that we have discussed previously. Immediately, we see a connection to illumination in this event in several different ways. This is meant as a reference to the Illuminati and ultimately to the fallen angel they worship as God, Lucifer, the angel of light. Paris is also known as the City of Lights, which connects it with illumination as well. Historically, the city of Paris was the de facto headquarters of the Knights Templar, and Friday the 13th is the date Philip IV, King of France, arrested hundreds of the Knights Templar. At daybreak on Friday the 13th, hundreds of Templars in France were simultaneously arrested by agents of Philip the Fair to be later tortured into admitting heresy in the order. Philip, with the help of the Pope, then had many Templars burned at the stake. Those who escaped went into hiding and carried on their work through secret societies and occult groups like the Rosicrucians, the Illuminati, and the Freemasons. Their plan was then and is still today to destroy religion and the nation state through revolution in order to set up a one world order. Freemasons, Knights Templar, and Rosicrucians affected the course of the French and American revolutions. It was also French Freemasons who gave America the Statue of Liberty, or the unholy whore goddess Isis, as a mirror for an identical statue that sits in France. Is it coincidence then that the ISIS attacks occurred in France, and could this be a precursor for a coming ISIS attack in New York? Interestingly enough, the Bataclan Theater is located at 50 Boulevard Voltaire in the 11th subdivision. Also, a suicide bomber detonated a bomb outside a cafe called Comptoir Voltaire on Boulevard Voltaire. It should be noted that the name Voltaire comes from the word volatile, which means to be explosive and to break out into open violence. Obviously, these events are instances of explosive violence breaking out in the open. This is connected to the spirit of revolution, the coming world war, and the eventual formation of a one world government through the use of the philosophy of Principia Discordia, or order out of chaos. We must also discuss the fact that Voltaire was a French Enlightenment writer and revolutionary who is most notably remembered for his Antichrist views on religion. Voltaire spewed Antichrist rhetoric, and he hated Christ and the worship of Messiah. Here is a quote from Voltaire. "It is assuredly the most ridiculous, the most absurd, and the most bloody religion which has ever infected the world. Your Majesty will do the human race an eternal service by extirpating this infamous superstition. I do not say among the rabble, who are not worthy of being enlightened, and who are apt for every yoke. I say among honest people, among men who think, among those who wish to think. My one regret in dying is that I cannot aid you in this noble enterprise, the finest and most respectable which the human mind can point out." It is also important to point out how it is believed that, as a result of French revolutionary Voltaire's writings, that the German founder of the Illuminati, Adam Weishaupt, formulated his ideas concerning the destruction of the church. It is no coincidence then why the volatile explosion, which occurred at the Stadium of France during a game between Germany and France, was chosen as a location for this orchestrated event to take place. This was meant to serve as a mirror of the commingling of ideas from the French revolutionary Voltaire and the German philosopher Weishaupt, founder of the Order of the Illuminati. The shooting at the Bataclan Theater also has some surprising connections to Satanism and the Illuminati as well. The band that was playing at the Bataclan is called Eagles of Death Metal. The nickname of the lead singer of this band is the Devil. This is a picture of him flashing the all-seeing eye. Also, the name Eagles of Death Metal came from the fact that other death metal bands said the music this particular group creates reminds them of the Eagles who made the song Hotel California.
Welcome to the Hotel California.
As we discussed earlier, Hotel California is a song about hell. Therefore, the reference to the devil and hell is undeniable. The Bataclan Theater is named after an opera, with Napoleon being the butt of the joke concerning a conspiracy of rebels to dethrone the emperor. Notice the reference to revolution. One more thing on Voltaire, revolution, and the destruction of religion. As a satirical polemicist, he frequently made use of his works to criticize intolerance, religious dogma, and the French institutions of his day. Remember, in January of this year, Islamist gunmen attacked the satirical newspaper Charlie Hebdo and a kosher supermarket in France, leaving a total of 17 dead.
Gunmen, masked and wearing black, broke into the headquarters of the newspaper, which was located near the Bastille district in Paris, and started firing with automatic weapons. The firing went on for about 5 minutes. Now, we don't have confirmation of this, but according to a police union spokesman, there may be as many as 10 people who are dead.
This should also bring to mind what Alan Moore, the anarchist, said about satire and magic.
If a bard laid a satire on you, then that was the most terrifying thing conceivable, because even after you were dead, if it was a good enough satire, people would still be laughing at you. It was a fate more terrible than death. It could destroy your reputation, the reputation of your family. What I'm getting at here is that people used to be terrified of artists.
Through the use of satire and magic, these satanic revolutionaries are attempting to destroy Christianity, Judaism, and Islam by pitting these three major religions against each other in hopes that the masses will become disillusioned with religion altogether as a whole because of the constant war caused by religious zealots. This will leave a world in utter dismay, full of disillusioned people who are ready and willing to accept the false savior, the Antichrist. In fact, this is exactly what 33rd degree Mason Albert Pike predicted would occur when he wrote out a plan for World War III, which would produce the institution of the One World Order and the worship of Lucifer. Pike declared that Israel and Islam would destroy each other, and atheists would then provoke a social cataclysm of bloody turmoil.
Escalating violence in the Middle East today. Hamas terrorists pummeled southern Israel with at least 60 rockets and mortars from the Gaza Strip.
Iris, tell us what exactly took place today.
What we saw overnight was dozens or hundreds, it's not clear, of young Palestinians protesting. And then in the end, that protest turned violent. We saw at this biblical site, which is in the Palestinian area. It's just outside Nablus near the Balata refugee camp. But it is a Jewish holy site there. And they began throwing firebombs.
Then he said, everywhere, the citizens obliged to defend themselves against the world minority of revolutionaries will exterminate those destroyers of civilization, and the multitude disillusioned with Christianity, whose deistic spirits will from that moment be without compass or direction, anxious for an ideal but without knowing where to render its adoration, will receive the true light through the universal manifestation of the pure doctrine of Lucifer brought finally out in the public view. Finally, we see this very plan being hinted at through the man who played the Beatles' John Lennon song, Imagine, after the Paris attacks. The lyrics of this song tell the revolutionary story of the destruction of religion and the nation state and the formation of the Antichrist one world government.
Imagine there's no country to kill or die for. No religion to.
Isn't it obvious? Isn't the proof overwhelming? That is, the proof that the spirit of Antichrist, the spirit of revolution, is running rampant upon the earth with the specific intention to enslave and destroy mankind. But all praise be to the Most High, because He has given us deliverance and salvation through Yehoshua, who set us free. I ask you again, are you scot-free? Shalom.